Hello, all you boomers, flyers, and Joeys out there. Let's see, hold on. Click here for live stream info of your account. Okay, let me try that again. Hello, all you boomers, flyers, and Joeys out there. Welcome. Today we are going to paint Kanga the Kangaroo, the cute kangaroo. So in your downloads, you should have the template for transferring it on your canvas and also the reference photo for this adorable kangaroo. The reference photo is a royalty-free reference photo, free to use. And he was just adorable. And I thought he would make the perfect addition to the Wild Thing Art Academy classes. So let's get started. So first off, I want you to look at your kangaroo, and if you haven't transferred him onto the canvas and you're not sure how to do it, stop the video, go to the collections area under fundamentals and look at how to transfer your image onto the canvas. If you want to freehand your little kangaroo onto the canvas, by all means do so. I am painting Kanga on just a 12 by 12 canvas panel. So let's get started. First off, I want you to take a nice deep breath and then exhale. And then I want you to think about letting your inner artist out. God created all of us to create something beautiful. And the thing that gets in the way of that is our own ego and our own judgment, the critic within. So let go of your critic. Let go of any preconceived ideas of what you think your kangaroo needs to look like. Let your artistic spirit come out and play today and enjoy this process, because what you're about to create will be a unique expression of you. So let's go. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. We're going to start as usual with the magenta. It's a Golden Brand Magenta, Quinacridone Magenta, Phthalo Blue, Golden Brand Phthalo Blue, red shade, Liquitex Indian Yellow, Liquitex Titanium White, and Liquitex Mars Black. So I am going to probably throw in some other colors today, like a teal, Golden Brand Teal. We'll see as we go along what the artistic spirit wants to use. So feel free to use similar colors if you want similar results, or use whatever intuitively you feel like you should be using. All right, let's get started. Let's grab the liner brush, and I'm going to use just a little simple liner brush like this, and I'm going to dip it in my water. And I'm going to, and by the way, I'm using acrylic paints. Feel free to use whatever paints you have available. Dip it into the paint and give it a nice little swirl so you get a nice little peak on your brush. Let me get my microphone. I forgot to pin my microphone on me, so hopefully you can hear me better. So let's begin by, let's draw over or paint over the drawing lines. So we're simply going to cover the drawing lines. This little kangaroo is so cute that I just couldn't help but pick him to be used as one of our paintings in the Wild Thing Academy. And I simply just want to cover these graphite lines with the paint. So using the magenta, and just going over that, over all the graphite lines. So just go ahead and just work on covering it. I like to moisten my paint with a little water. It helps it to flow off of the brush a little easier when my paint is thinner. However, if you're using thinner paints than I am, it might not be necessary. So I always try to work on the top and then the left side. Because I'm right-handed, I work on the left side so I don't get my hand in it. Because when I'm teaching these online classes, I paint flat and I will make a mess. Get my hand in it, my arm in it, you name it, and I'll make a big old mess. This kangaroo had the sweetest eyes. Now, why do I outline my kangaroo in this magenta? I do that with most of my paintings because there'll be places where it will peek through, and I believe it adds interest. He's got the cutest little nose. So, time for a fun fact. Males are called boomers, females are called flyers, and babies are called joeys. And just about done with outlining him in the magenta. I'm sorry, I'm upstairs and my horse is walking around out there in the field, and I've got a fly mask on her face, and it looks like she has a little cricket on her face, so she's so cute. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the phthalo blue in all the shadow areas. So where I'm seeing is shadow areas, all the dark areas. So all the dark areas, the eyes, the nose, the shadow areas on underneath that fur, and we're going to add that in. So I'm going to grab my filbert. So I'm going to use this filbert. It's just a rounded edged brush, I'm going to dip it in a little bit of water to thin that paint down. And we're going to first do the eyes. Always do the eyes in the blue. I got a little bit too much water, so I'm going to take some paper towels and she's up. My horse is up to something. She's wandering around everywhere. She's a curious horse. And I'm going to go ahead, and he has a little white of the eye right there. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in blue because we don't want to ever a pure white in the whites of the eye. And the blue underneath will give it a nice sheen there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I see dark up here on this ear up here, this outer edge, a little dark right here, a little dark in this area here, a little dark right there, and some cool shadows in this area here. A little spot right there on his forehead. And again, we all see the colors differently. So if you're seeing things differently than I am, perfectly fine. You just put in the shadow areas where you think the shadow areas are, because we all see the world differently, which is what makes it so unique and fun. I'm going to do his whole nose in the blue. And a little bit right there with his little chin. And then this area here. My paper towels are being cantankerous. And think about too, when you're painting your animal, the direction of the body, which direction is it going? Like the curvature, and which direction is the hair? This kind of hair's going kind of everywhere there. And a little bit right. A little right there. All right. So now I'm going to go in. And he has shadow areas underneath his eyes. I'm going to darken that eye just a bit. Same with this one. And he has shadow areas here. A little right there. and a little right there. And I'm seeing a little bit right here underneath his fur. Basically, that's a little bit shadowed, not as quite as that little spot right there. All right, let's make sure I've got what I want in. I think so. Well, let's see. There is a little shadow edge right here. A little bit right there on the inside. Same with this one. A little bit right in there. Okay, let's take a look at our little let's go in with the pink. So I want to take magenta, and I'm just going to use the pure magenta. And I'm going to go in the pink areas that I'm seeing. And by pink, I'm meaning pink like where skin might be showing through, and pink meaning warm shadows. Definitely a little warm shadow right there, and warm shadow right here. And a little warm right up here. Now remember, this is Wild Thing Art Academy. If I wanted to do a, and I'm going to put pink all down in his fur here. If I wanted to do a realistic rendition of this sweet kangaroo, then I'd take a photo. This is Wild Thing Art Academy. That means go wild with your imagination. And I'm putting a lot of, he's got a lot of yellow down here, and I love when I put that yellow on top of this pink, the effect I get. And so I'm just going to cover this with see where else I see that I might want to put. Maybe a little bit down here on his nose. And then I think I'm going to make a soft gray to fill him in. And by that I mean I'm going to go with a little bit of titanium white. I'm going to add a little touch of blue and a little touch of black. I'm going to make a light bluish gray. And I'm going to get my brush a little wet to thin that down. And I'm going to kind of just brush in, fill in. So we're just blocking in color just to cover the canvas. So just covering the canvas with color. So we initially want to put in the shadow areas, then block in just some base color. So you just want to get your shadow areas pretty correct, and then you start laying colors on top of that. And as we go along in this process, you'll see what I'm talking about. And these colors will peek out from, let's see what direction his hair is going here. All directions. And the color, the shadow areas that you have will peek out from that underneath that paint. His hair's kind of going all over the place there, so I'm just kind of giving it the effect of hair. So just covering your canvas, your surface area. And again, you see what looks right for you, and that's what you should be doing. Okay, so now that we've got our canvas mostly blocked in, his nose is not blocked in, but that's all right. We're going to work on his eyes. So we're going to start bringing it to life with his eyes. So I'm going to grab this little flat brush after I take a drink. Little flat brush. All right, so another fun fact, kangaroos. Did you know that they can reach up to speeds of 35 miles an hour and they can leap in one single jump 25 feet? I think that's crazy. Crazy. Okay, let's go with black. And so I'm looking at his pupil and it looks like it's a big round, gorgeous pupil. So let's paint in that pupil. And if you painted with me before, I spend a lot of times time on the eyes. And it looks like it kind of goes round like this. It's a little kind of almost an egg shape. And then I'm going to outline his whole eye. In the black. And I just used the edge of my brush when I was doing it. He's got some cute little eyelashes. I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, now I'm seeing a beautiful kind of a brownish color in those eyes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a brown, kind of a orange color with magenta. And because I've got blue underneath, that will darken that up. So I'll make magenta and some yellow to make an orange. We got a nice orange there, and I'm going to take some more paint. I got too much gloppy on my brush. And I'm going to go ahead and start to paint this iris in. As you can tell, when I put it over on top of the blue, it changes the color. All right, I'm going to rinse my brush out. Now on the camera as I look, it's showing that it's not much of a difference. And so we can add difference to that by cleaning my brush out, by the way, by adding just some of the yellow. just like that. I'm going to smooth that little right there. And that blue is kind of peeking through. Let's go ahead and darken the pupils back up again. So I'm going to go back into my black and I'm going to darken the pupils back up. And we don't want a harsh line between the pupils and the iris color. So try to soften that line. Okay. I'm feathering some of that yellow into this pupil over here to soften that up. Same with this. I need to round this eye up just a little more. There we go. The eyes are real important. Okay, now that we've got that based in, I'm going to go ahead and add a little lighter yellow. So I'm going to mix up some of this Indian yellow with some white, make a lighter yellow. Let's see if we can't bring these eyes to life a little more. Again, you want to think about the curvature of the eye and making sure that your brush strokes move in that curvature to give the illusion of roundness. Looking better. Let's go ahead and put in the whites of his eyes. I'm going to use this liner brush and dip back into this gray color that we had made, and I'm going to go ahead and put in the white of his eye right here. And there's a little bit of a white of the eye right there. I'm going to go back in. I just cleaned out my brush and I'm going to soften that. And then I'm going to, while I've got this liner brush, I'm going to go ahead and line that pupil out just a little bit more. And I'm going to feather that inner line just a touch so that it's not so harsh. I'm going to do the same thing on this eye here, making sure that you're really checking the shape against the photo. got a little bit of, sometimes it's the little tiny nuances that you give. He's got a little bit of a peak right there. Same with this one. I think I've got the white of this eye a little bit too much. I'm going to take some of that out. And while I've got that gray on the brush, I'm going to go ahead and gray the inner eye just a bit. I'm going to clean that liner brush out. I'm going to move back to my little flat brush, a little bit scraggly. And I think what other colors I'm going to use. I think I'm going to go back into this little yellow that I just had and bring that up just a bit. All right, when we get into the neon colors as we go through this process, and the end I always use the fluorescent, that's when I'll start popping these eyes out with a little more color. For now, let's grab the phthalo blue and the white, and let's make a real light blue. Even lighter than that. Like that color, and we're going to take it and we're going to add some highlights to his eyes. And so I'm going to just do that, and remember the direction of his eyes. Like that. Perfect. And again, just a little bit more, and I'm going to add a little bit of this moisture to his eye right here. I'm going to highlight the white just a little bit and a little moisture right there. Okay, there's that. And then I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to soften this right here. And then what I always do is I add the final highlight to the eye. And what I'm doing now is I'm drying off my brush, and I'm going to use the end of this brush right here. I'm going to dip it right in top of this white, and I'm going to add a little dot to the center of his eye, or to the center of right there, and right there. There. Now he has some life in his eyes. We'll go back and fix that. You know what? So let me say that, and let me go ahead, and he has like a sheen over here on this eye that I want to kind of bring out, and the same with that as well. Okay, that's better. Yeah, now his eyes look a little more glassy. Again, when we go into the fluorescence, I'll be adding more colors to those eyes and really making them pop. Okay, so let's look at our little kangaroo, and the next thing after the eyes is I always do the ears and the nose. And so let's move up to his ears. I'm going to take my filbert brush, and I'm going to make a light pink, I think, to go in those ears. And I'm simply going to take white and add it to some pink because I want him to be soft colors. So I think that's, and then there's this little peak of his anatomy right there in that ear. And just like that. And then same with this ear as well. There's this peak of anatomy right here. And then I'm going to just gently dry off my brush with a paper towel. And I'm going to take a little white and I'm going to kind of highlight this little part of his anatomy right there in his ear. Okay, just thinking here, what else can be done? Some lavender would probably look really nice in there, so I'm going to make some lavender with this pink that we made. That looks like a nice color. And I'm going to go in where some of this is. And you'll see when we put the hair in, this will cover a lot up. And I'm going to put a little lavender right there. All right, I am going to take, I just cleaned out that brush, and I'm going to take this flat brush right here. It's a number 6. I'm going to go in with the white, and it's pretty thick white, and I'm going to start putting the ears, the hair in on this kangaroo. So I'm just going to start putting the hair in. Just like that. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the top of his ear, softening that down. Same with this one. I'm cleaning out my brush, and I'm going to go ahead and re-emphasize this ear right here, and I'm going to do that with the blue. There. All right, let's go in with the blue again and do a little bit on that ear. And we're going to put white in the other ear as well. So we're going to look at the hairs on our kangaroo, and we're going to just follow the hairs. And this is a bunch of look at the direction of those hairs and try to follow along with that. All right, there's that for now. Again, we'll soften this up as there. Okay, there's his ears for right now. Again, we'll go back and we will correct it. Let's move on down to his nose. So in his nose, I'm going to take my little flat brush. I'm going to put black on this brush because I'm going to do the insides of those nose holes right here, those nostrils. So just the inside, and they go all the way down, just like that. I'm going to wet that brush down and then this little chin right here, just that little bit right there. All right, and then I'm going to take some blue and I'm going to start darkening up his nose in the dark areas. So just that straight blue. And going into the areas I see that are the darkest. So as you can see, it's all about using your imagination and the way you see the world. Right, let's take a little lighter blue then. So lighten this up just a bit. So I'm going to take the white, put it into the phthalo blue, make it a little bit lighter of a color, and I'm going to start putting in a little bit more of this nose here. Good. Okay, I'm going to wipe that brush off and I'm going to soften that edge right there just a bit. And I think a nice contrast would be a lavender. See if this is still available to use. I'm going to add some white to it. Let's add some highlights here so it kind of goes up. And then okay. For now, I'm going to be okay with that right there. So I'm going to take a little bit more of this ice blue, so lighter blue, and let's add some highlights in here. It goes like that. And I think good enough for right at the moment. I'm going to soften that edge just a bit. So it's not such a sharp contrast. However, I do think I want, you know what, we'll put some fluorescent pink on that nose. I think that will pop that out. All right, let's work on the white area of his nose. And I should have brought that gray down, but I didn't. I'm going to grab this filbert and I'm going to put a little white in the nose area. It's right here. Goes down like that. I failed to fill that in with some gray. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to get into the gray. If there's any left, I may need to create some more. And sorry, my husband's decided to print something and the printer's right behind me. So I apologize for that. I'm going to put some light right in here. Oops, it's a little blue in there. Again, I'm going to add a little bit more. Just like that. And let's take a look here. So now I think I'm ready to move in to let's do a light yellow. So we're going to take this and some white and make a yellow. And I'm going to start working down here. He's got a lot of yellow right here. That's a little yellow. That's all right. And I'm going to work this yellow just like that. Kind of goes up like that and around. Seeing some yellow right here. A little on his nose. And a little in that area there. Okay, so from here, we're going to start adding white. So I know he looks a mess right now, but he's going to come together. Trust the process. Again, don't let the inner critic come out. Let it come out, their artistic spirit come out and play. Forget about judging anything that you do and just experiment and play with color. So we are going to take this big flat brush and we're going to start adding white hairs on top. So another fun fact about kangaroos is they live in mobs. Their groups are called mobs. So the group they live in mobs. And a female can also pause her pregnancy. If the environment is not right for her and conducive to her baby, she will pause her pregnancy until the environmental conditions are more favorable. This is called embryonic diapause. I did not know that. I had to look that up. I thought that was very interesting and fascinating that they have the ability to do that. So I'm getting out more white. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add thick white. And this is going to be the first. So the colors we have on there right now is beneath the colors of the white. So we're going to go ahead and add white. And remember when you're painting to think about the direction of the hairs and which way they're going and apply accordingly. So here's this. So again, have fun with this. We want this kangaroo soft. So, and the hairs kind of like this right up here. So basically, let's go ahead and put this hairs right here on. They're kind of going to kind of a peaky looking thing. And in this direction as well. right, now we'll continue back up in this direction. So think about the directions of the hairs and which way they're going. And they're kind of going all over the place. But we don't want him blotchy. Remember, this is your... We don't want him blotchy. I'm kind of using the edge of this brush, and then I'll flip it at times just to soften the blotchiness of it. So again, I'm just kind of creating some interesting marks on here and going for that. All right, so now his cheek is a little wide, so let's go ahead and add that in. So go ahead and put that in, and it's right up next to this eye here. So without getting into the eye too much, just like that. And the same with this side here. Kind of goes all the way up next to this eye. And a little bit of white highlight right in here around this eye. Same with this one. See how the colors underneath are kind of peeking through? That's what we're wanting. That was the purpose of putting the colors underneath. So now I'm going to go ahead and put some down here on top of this yellow. And like I said, his little hairs kind of go all over the place, so. Okay, he's starting to come together a little bit. So let's grab back into that gray, and again, may need to make some, depending on if it's, add a little bit of blue to that, light blue. And let's go into the darker areas. I want it a little darker. Okay, let's go in here. Adding this gray in. And remember again, the direction of the hairs. Here's some gray on this little nose. We'll pop in that. And then back into the gray right here. Now, let's take that gray back up into the ears, and let's finish these ears out just a little more, making the curvature of that. So do you see what I just did? I just kind of defined the edge of his ear here. I like the pink. Let me slide that down. The pink showing through up there on that ear. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that. Let's go back into the white. And let's bleed some of that white because he's got white kind of all throughout here. And I'm just kind of zigzagging my brush just a bit. And I'm going to whiten that up, just this cheek up here, just a little more. Same with that. I'm going to whiten that up. And his little chinny chopper, a little white there. And I'm going to go back up here into the top area here and define that even a little bit more. Because he's got a little, like a forehead that comes out a little bit more. And I'm going to add some artistic strokes here and a little rounding of the nose here. Just like that. Add some peaks right here, like he's got a little bit of a mohawk going on. Okay, he's coming together. Hang in there. We're getting there. So what I'm going to go back into now is the around the eye area and his nose and define that a little more, and same with his ears. So I'm going to grab this little flat brush and I'm going to use, let's go with a purple. Let's go with it. I'm going to try a different color. It's dioxazine purple. It's the Golden brand. If I can get it open, we're going to put this right here. It's a dark, pretty purple. I love the purple I can make with the magenta and the blue, but for this painting, let's give this a try. I'm going to add a little bit of white to that. And we're going to go into this little cute under eye area and see if we can't. Again, I wanted to keep more, see if I can't create the shape of this under eye here. I wanted to be a little bit more softer in the colors with this little kangaroo. I like that purple. Yes, I'm liking that purple, so I'm going to use it. I'm going for it. And then same with this under eye here. And again, you want to create the shape. I'm liking that purple, so I'm going to bring up here some in this ear. That's a pretty purple. And create an edge on that ear as well, the outer edge right here. Maybe a little bit. And see how the blue is still peeking out from underneath that purple that we put in earlier? I'm going to create that little shadow peak right here. These hairs are coming together here. And I'm kind of emphasizing some of this gray here. And then let's go down here into the nose area and just a little interest down here. Okay, it's starting to come together. So hang in there. We're getting there. Now I'm going to wash this out and get back into this brush right here and back into the white. And we're going to lay that a little on top of this right here to give that little bit of a mohawk that he's got going on there. Just a tiny bit. We're going to emphasize that and have a little lavender in that brush, and it's kind of looks pretty cool. So again, I'm going to go back in and re-emphasize this little right here with his, and a little right there, and his little wispy hair right there. Same with this side. I'm going to go ahead and re-emphasize that little swoop of hair. And I'm going to go back in and emphasize a little white right here. And this white right here. Emphasize a little more of a rounded nose there, and a little more white on this cheek, and these little cute little cheeks right here. I see I'm loving those bold colors peeking out from underneath that white. So I'm really liking that. All right, let's look at that nose. I think that nose can use some of that pretty lavender that we made up here, this dioxazine purple. Let's add some white to that and see if we can't add some more interest to his nose. And I would say right in here. Yeah, that kind of helped. Okay, I think we're about time to, let me darken these. I'm going to get back into the black. So I just wiped my brush out, I'm going to get back into the black and darken this area right here on his nostrils where I kind of lost the edge there. Same with this right here. Kind of lost the edge of that. And re-emphasize that just a bit. And same with the underneath of his little chin. And I just brought that chin out just a little bit by edging that. That's so cute, his little chin. I'm going to soften that though. Okay, so he's starting to come together. Loving his eyes, but let's get into the fluorescent and let's pop him out just a little bit more. So what I'm looking at is I see yellow. So I'm going to grab some of my fluorescent. This is Liquitex fluorescent yellow. And I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to pop some, what brush do I want to use? I think I'm going to use a this curved brush here, or this flat edge brush with a little curve. Let's see what it happens. May use something different. And I'm going to go ahead right where I had the yellow in him. I'm going to pop a little bit of fluorescent yellow. Like that. And slightly red like that. And I'm liking that yellow. So I'm going to take the edge of this brush and I'm going to add just a tiny bit of that right there in his eye. In a little tiny spot right there. Same with this. And right there. Yes, okay. Now let's stop that yellow and let's go into some pinks and some oranges. Now the orange to me is like sunlight. So let's do the pink first and we'll do the orange last. So I'm going to use my fluorescent pink, shaking it up. And see if I can get any out. I'm going to go right here. I don't know if you can see. Let's see. What about right here? Yeah. Okay. Let me take the lid off this. Take the lid off. And these are my favorite. This is my favorite part. The fluorescent. I love these fluorescents. Okay. So let's see. Did you know, let's do another fun fact. Joeys, which are baby kangaroos, are born very small, about the size of a jelly bean. They crawl up into their mama's sack and they stay there until they continue to develop for several months. Well, I think we all kind of knew that one, that the babies live in the mama's pouch for a while, but it's interesting how tiny they are. What brush do I want to grab? Let's grab the same brush that we had for the yellow. And I'm going to look at the areas. Oh, and I'm just like, I love this fluorescent pink. It's right here. And a little pink right. And I'm kind of going in the direction of his hair. So I'm just doing that little highlight on the, let's go into the ears here where his skin might be peeking through. And same with this. And we're going to emphasize that little line right there in the ear. And I'm going to bring this pink down right here on this side here. So let's go into the eye and add a little pink right there. and a little pink right there. Okay, see, he's starting to pull together now. You get a little bit scary when you're going through the process, but trust the process. Trust the process. Trust your intuition. Now let's go into the orange and add some, what I call sunlight hitting him. So where do we want the sunlight to be? So in this picture, he's kind of like the top, a little bit down here in the front, and up there about around his ears. I don't know if I got any in this. This is the golden fluorescent orange, and there's nothing in this one. So I'm going to grab this one. Let's see if I can't get any to come out without making a mess. Okay, ta-da, did it? No mess. Do you know kangaroos live primarily on grasses and can go for long periods of time without water? So I did not know that. The other thing that is interesting is that kangaroos are supposedly really good swimmers, and they use swimming to get away from their prey a lot. I did not know that they were good swimmers. All right, let's put some sunlight on this kangaroo, and I see sunlight right here, and I see sunlight right here, and this is where you can add your flare, and I'm going to go right here and a little bit right here. I'm going to add a touch of that orange in his eye as well, just a touch, because I think it's just such a pretty color. I'm going to add some sunlight right there and a little bit around this pink as well. I'm going to add a little bit to the outer edge of his body, like he's a little bit illuminated. Right in here. He's got a little bit of a eyelid underneath, so I'm trying to emphasize that just a touch, sometimes just a little suggestion. The eye will fill it out the rest of the way for you. Okay. I think I'm liking him. I think he's starting to pull together now. I'm looking in the camera because sometimes if you are looking at it directly head on, you don't see areas that need fixing. And I'm kind of seeing, I want to do something with that. You know what? I want to do back into this light, a real light blue. What I think I'm going to get into some teals. I had said that at the very beginning of this class. I'm going to get into teal. And so what I'm going to use is Golden Brand teal. That's what he needs right there, I believe. Just a little teal. So I'm just squirting that out onto my palette. And I'm going to use that same little, oh, it's in the water. Clean out your brush. And so another fun fact, there are 4 different types or 4 main species of the kangaroo, and that is the red, the eastern gray, the western gray, and the antilopine. I don't even know if I'm saying that correct. They are also the native to Australia, and they are their national symbol, which I think is cool. And I'm just adding some interesting marks on my kangaroo. And then I'm going to go down here and see what I can do about this nose. Let's see. There's a little edge right there. I think that's a little better. And then let's add a white, some moisture to that nose. So what I'm doing is I'm cleaning off my brush, and I'm going to add some moisture to that nose. Moisture meaning I'm just going to add some white to show some light reflection like that, and like that. Just seeing if there's anything else I think I want to add. I love this bold, like adding bold white. I want to soften him up just a little bit more. So I'm just adding some here to soften. Okay, we are nearing completion. This little guy has whiskers and eyelashes. Checking one last time if there's anything I want to add before I add the whiskers. I'm going to go an interesting mark right there. Okay. I want to redefine this eye right here with a little bit of black to make it pop out just a little bit more. Again, I've wetted my brush down just a little bit and twirling my brush to get a nice point on my head, make sure my head's not in the way. Yeah, that made his eyes pop out just a little bit more. Let me get this underneath eyelid in just a little bit more here. And I'm going to ditch this teal blue with some white with my liner brush here. And let's add a little more reflection to that eye. Okay, much better. Okay, let's add his whiskers in. So I'm cleaning out the brush and I'm going to do the whiskers in, they're kind of white, but white would disappear in this painting. So I'm going to take gray and mix me up some gray. Just a nice light gray so it's distinguishable from the rest of him. I'm going to take my water and I'm going to wet that down quite a bit. Twirl my brush. And now his eyelashes are black. So let's go ahead and just put the whiskers in, and there's just like all over the place. Up in here. Kind of go out. And I need to moisten my brush a little bit more because the paint is not coming off the brush like I want it to. There we go, that's better. And I'm just doing like little squiggly lines all throughout, just to make him a little bit make these little squiggly hairs a little bit more believable. Kind of brushing some up here. And I'm just kind of making little hairy marks here, little squigglies with my brush. Because they're kind of going just all sorts of direction, these hairs are. All right, let's look at he's got some hair coming off right in here. Just a little bit of whiskers. And he's got a lot of whiskers coming off his chin. Oh, and he's got some under eyelash whiskers too. So move back up here and put those in. And moving back down to the nose. And a few little dots in there. All right, let's move up to his eyelashes. And we're going to do those in black. So I'm going to wet my brush down. I'm going to get some black aside and really thin that down. Then we're going to make some eyelashes. So be careful with eyelashes because your eyes are looking good and we want to make sure that the eyelashes don't overpower the eyes. So a lot of times people get carried away with the eyelashes and it just takes away from, ooh, look what I just did. That's all right, we can fix it. So they take away from the painting. So his eyelashes are coming together. There. I think that's good enough for those eyelashes. Let me fix that little spot that I just did on the painting. And I'm just simply going to go into my white and take that out. No problemo. There's happy little accident. All right, I think we are done with Kanga the Cute Kangaroo. And boy, is he bright. I wanted to go pastels, but I always end up doing that. I always say, I'm going to go pastels and always end up going white. You know what? I'm seeing a spot in his ear that I want to correct. I'll be right there. I just want to take those lines out of that ear and make them a little bit more furry looking. Yeah. Take that. Soften the edges of those lines that I put in earlier. Okay, I think Kanga the Kangaroo is done. So we've been painting for about an hour and 40 minutes. I'm thinking yes, I think we're done. So what I recommend at this stage is for you to take a step back from your painting, eat something, go take a break, a walk, whatever you do, come back to your kangaroo, take a look at it. Are you happy with it? Sometimes taking a photo of your painting will give you a different perspective and things might jump out at you that you see that you want to change and make differently. By all means do that. The one thing I ask you to really keep in mind is don't overwork your painting. That is the number one thing that most of us tend to do is that inner critic starts coming up and we start thinking, oh, that doesn't look good, that doesn't look good. And then next thing we know, we've overworked our painting and totally took the artistic spirit completely out of our painting. So great job on your Kanga the Kangaroo. I want you to take a nice look at your kangaroo and I want you to take a big deep breath and I want you to start, raise up your hand, put it on your back. Good job. Yay, you did it. So here's the thing. You just created something beautiful. Now, whether you think so or not, I want you to let that inner critic go because we were all born to create. And you just created something that nobody else can create. No matter how many times somebody tries to paint this kangaroo following the exact same instructions that you did, remember you see things differently through your eyes. I tend to say I color my world with big bold colors. If you want to do it in pastels, by all means do so. I want you to show the world the way you see it, the way you want to show yourself. So your painting is a unique expression of who you are. So honor that process. You did fabulous. Great job, and I will see you in the next class. Bye.